If you're like me and you love reading Shadow Slave, you've probably noticed the plentiness of bad flaws. But have you ever wondered which one of them is the worst? Today we're going to go over which are the top 10 worst flaws in Shadow Slave, starting from the number 10, which is the most benign, all the way to number 1, which is the absolute worst in the novel. So without further ado, let's get into the list. Starting off our list at number 10 is Sunny, the protagonist. I know, hear me out. His flaw is bad, but not that bad. Let me explain. Sunny's flaw, aptly named Clear Conscience, forbids him from ever telling a lie. The moment a question is asked, the truth claws its way out of him, no matter how dangerous or painful that truth may be. This truth compulsion isolates him behind a wall of ridiculous tales and half-truths, his only defense to make his honesty seem like madness. And this leads to some pretty funny moments. And although burdensome, Sunny's flaw ranks lowest here because it cuts with a subtle blade. No extreme physical agony or death directly results from it, and with cleverness he's learned to endure its constraints. In the grim company of these other flaws, being unable to lie almost feels like a mercy, albeit one that still leaves Sunny forever at the mercy of others' questions and his own painful honesty. And the reason it takes the number 10 spot instead of a higher spot is because it's only really that bad if he was still connected to fate and it's still linked with his divine aspect. If he has the flaw without that, he's Gucci. Like, imagine Kai having that flaw. It's not that bad. At number 9 we have another controversial one. Rain, Sunny's sister. Rain is a character whose flaw is called Crown of Thorns, and it basically renders her incapable of killing anything, even a cow. What if she steps on an ant? Does she have to dodge? It is a complete inability to kill anything, which becomes particularly harsh in a world where survival is a constant struggle. This is a flaw that could be number 4 or number 9, depending how you look at it. In my mind, she can be like one of those valor artisans and just stay in the backlines, naming and crafting things for other awakened, relying on her brother and the avatar that is always with her. She pretty much always has a sovereign on her back. So in really dire circumstances, she is pretty much safe. And that is even if she is in those circumstances. She most likely isn't. And she could stay in the Forgotten Shores city, basically, in Sunny's part of the world. However, if you look at it from another point of view, she can't really effectively fight in the Dream Realm. She can only maim monsters. And neutralizing foes is way harder than killing them. Also, facing nightmarish hordes of monsters places her at a risk of being overwhelmed. In that sense, her flaw is an absolute GS. No matter the circumstance, she is incapable of taking a life. In the deadly Dream Realm, this is more than a handicap. It is a death sentence, postponed by ingenuity. Rain can fight with skill and valor, but when the time comes to deal the killing blow, something in her forbids it. She lives in a state of perpetual restraint, forced to rely on allies, traps, or fate itself to finish what she starts. The philosophical torment here must be profound. Her morality is decided for her like a curse. Even if mercy is the last thing she wants, she can afford every enemy left alive is a threat that lingers. If you look at it like that, Rain's flaw ranks among the top 4, top 3 because it fundamentally contradicts the brutal reality of her world. Kill or be killed. Coming up next at number 8 is Revel, one of Kisong's daughters. Revel is a transcendent who lives in eternal night. Her flaw makes sunlight lethal, barring her from ever stepping into its warmth. She is essentially the vampire of Shadow Slave. And imagine not being to step into light, like the sun is so good. If for some unforeseen reason she's obliged to fight in the day, she dies. She survives like a phantom, dwelling in sunless caves beneath the Jade Palace, where darkness is both her power and prison. In the gloom, Revel's Light Slayer aspect thrives, but one can sense the moody introspection behind her cold eyes. Daylight, a symbol of hope for others, is her enemy. This flaw is bad. because it isolates her from the living world above. And she can only operate for what? Half of the day if it's winter? Yet, while bad, it still allows meaningful interaction under the cover of darkness. And when it's nighttime, she can be a powerhouse. She can fight, love, and exist properly. It's a life constrained but not utterly broken. Compared to those high rank, Revel's flaw is manageable. So that's why she takes up the number 8 spot. On number 7 we have, you guessed it, no you didn't probably, it's Dorn. Dorn carries the weight of inevitability. His body is cursed to grow and grow without end. Every inch gained bringing him closer to collapse under his own colossal weight. Today, he is merely a giant of a man. Someday he could be a mountain of flesh that gravity itself will crush. This flaw is pretty much a death sentence. It's a quiet horror, no daily agony or sudden violence, just the relentless, inescapable march of time. Dorn lives knowing that his strongest enemy is his own body, towering higher and heavier with each passing week. The introspective dread of such a fate is profound. Dorn's only hope lie in sorcery and strength to ascend to a high rank before his curse kills him, to fortify his body or find some memory or artifact to slow the growth. In a way, his flaw is the inevitability of decay made visible. I rank his flaw in the middle because it doesn't wreck his present relationships or sanity, but it imposes a tragic deadline on his life that cannot be bargained with. Next, at number 6, we have our female protagonist, Nephis. For Nephis, heir of the immortal flame, power is pain. Her flaw, pristine soul, inflicts unbearable agony whenever she wields her divine fire. Her divine fire can be used to heal her allies and to kill her enemies, making it extremely useful, hence the drawback being so bad. And if the pain wasn't bad enough, it also burns away at her humanity each time she uses it, requiring a cooldown period so that she can feel human again. Imagine every time you use your power to heal your teammate or to kill a random monster, you feel the pain of being burned alive? Why then is it placed here at number 6 and not lower? Well, because Nephis can choose. When not in battle, she's normal. She has no pain, no fire, nothing. So basically her flaw tests the limits of willpower rather than dooming her outright, and she's a stunning spearman. And above all, Nephis found a way to transmute pain into purpose. The flaws that rank higher offer far less consolation. Her suffering is immense, but it is meaningful suffering, embraced in pursuit of shattering the nightmare itself. And that makes all the difference. Coming up on number 5 we have Cassie, Song of the Fallen. This is a cruel one. Blindness is Cassie's flaw. She traded her sight for the power to glimpse the future. This cruel bargain left her a helpless girl at first, struggling in darkness, broken by the severity of her crippling flaw. Just imagine going through your first taste of the nightmare, receiving powers to glimpse into the future, all for your eyesight to be taken away. Then, with no powers in the winter solstice, you go straight into another nightmare, with no way to see. It's basically a death sentence. Not being able to see as an awakened is fucked up. Cassie's world is an eternal midnight. But over time she learned to deal with her flaw, and as she climbs in ranks, she can see pretty much. But it's still terrifying. Following up on number 4, we have Castor, a man that's no longer mentioned pretty much. Castor's flaw is a cruel one. It's the slow burn of his own life every time he unleashes his aspect's power, which is supernatural speed. Basically, every time he wishes to use his aspect ability, he pays in years of his lifespan. What should have been a divine gift became a curse. Each burst of power ages him, inching him closer to an early grave. In battle, we literally watched him wither. A youthful young man became elderly in his fight against Sunny, and he still died. Damn, that's bad. I mean, sure, he can survive by avoiding using his power, like Nephis, but when the situation really calls for it, he's fucked. It's not ranked higher on the list because it offers a choice, like he cannot use it, he's a good swordsman. But imagine you have other aspect abilities. It's terrible to have. It's basically the same as not having power, because if you use it, you march to death very fast. The only thing he can do, really, is microdose it, using in very, very short bursts to control. But if he loses himself in his thrill, he basically dies. It's a cruel flaw. I would hate to have it. Now we're entering to the realm of the top 3. Let's see if you can guess which characters occupy these spots. Taking up the bronze medal is Jet, the Soul Reaper. Jet has a pretty fucked up flaw, and it's a very tricky one to deal with. Let me explain. Jet walks the earth technically dead, sustained only by slaughter. Her soul core is cracked and constantly leaking essence. She is eternally starving for life force essence. To keep herself from withering away, Jet must kill and kill again, feeding on the energy released in death. Basically, she is dead, and basically, she is dying, and to prevent herself from dying, she has to kill others to absorb their essence. This flaw must be hella annoying to live with. She must live in constant anxiety, always having to be killing in order not to die. Bruh. This makes other people see her as a bloodthirsty maniac, but in essence, she's just trying not to die. When she grows powerful enough, she can withstand this flaw better, and after all, there's plenty of monsters to kill in the June realm. Now, it's going to be a bit controversial in the Shadow Slave community. You'll be pretty surprised who's at number 2. Coming up on number 2 is Anvil of Valor. I bet most of you thought this was going to be number 1, but no, there's a worse flaw. Let me explain before you dislike the video. To be Anvil is to live in fear of love. His flaw guarantees that everyone he holds dear will die. Family, friends, anyone who warms the cold walls of his heart is doomed to an untimely end. This curse turned one of humanity's greatest champions into a man of straight granite, hiding tenderness under layers of duty and distance. Anvil's wife, Gwyn, and even his own father fell victim to this fate, each loss reinforcing the terrible truth: love is lethal. The psychology of this flaw is heart-wrenching. How do you carry on knowing any bond you form is a ticking time bomb for the other person? Well, Anvil had two choices: seal off his heart entirely, or love in spite of fate, and watch each cherished light snuff out. Either path is misery. His flaw is ranked second because the only slight mercy, and this is why it is in number 1, is that Anvil could experience genuine love. He could really have genuine, loving relationships, however, they're briefly. And also, thoughts from me, it could also be OP as fuck. Imagine he suddenly develops affection for his opponent, like Key Song or Sunny. They're gonna die. He doesn't even need to fight. They will die. It's OP, in my opinion. One thing I would do, oh, I'm fighting Key Song, let me love you. Anyway, moving on. Our number 1 pick is Solvane. I know, this is controversial, but hear me out. Solvane's flaw is a curse of beauty so profound, it drives mortals to madness. The more someone spends time with her, the more they want to possess her, eventually giving in to irresistible desire. In theory, it sounds almost alluring. In practice, it is a perfect recipe for isolation and horror. Imagine that she didn't have the power to defend herself. What then? Solvane could never even have an honest friend or true love. How could she, when her very presence twists the emotions of others into fanatism? She was cursed to be utterly alone in a room full of people. Even other saints kept their distance or fell under her spell. In her 1,000-year life of battle and duty, Solvane secretly longed for release, even death, rather than enduring one more day as the object of insane reverence. This flaw ranks as the worst in my opinion, because it denies the most basic human need: genuine connection. If Anvil's love was doomed, Solvane was impossible. The only relationships she could form were temporary and one-dimensional, based on lust or awe, crumbling as soon as they formed. I mean, she learned to cope by only allowing fleeting interactions, never staying with anyone long enough for it to turn dangerous. So this one will be really hard to cope. And if you're asking again why Solvane is above Anvil, I rank it above Anvil because even Anvil could hold his child, or love his wife for a time with sincerity, knowing that his life loves him back for who he is. Solvane was denied even that. So it's truly fucked up. And there you go, guys. That's it for my list. make sure to drop yours down below in the comments and let me know what you think of my list. I think I did a really good case. That's it from me, guys. See you next time. Keep reading.